Okay, hi everyone. We'll just give folks a moment to take 30 seconds or so for people to get to the places they wish to be. Let me get some materials up and going here. And so far, I just see the four of us, right? So we'll see if anybody comes here. I think so. I think I saw in the chat that some folks were interested in Tennessee. So hi, Roy. Welcome. If you can hear me, I think it's Roy Vickery, I believe. We'll just give folks a minute here, but then we can go through. We can just go through these designs, and if you feel free to unmute yourself and you can speak. If the chat is easier for you, you can just kind of ask questions in the chat as well.
Does this work?
Yeah. Hi, Roy. How are you?
All right.
Did I say your name right?
Yep. Close
Great.
enough.
Okay. I like your picture. Where were those fish caught?
I don't remember the name of the lake, but they drained it right after that.
Oh, okay. It was salvage fishing.
Yeah.
I hear you. Okay, I think so I'll just introduce the folks that are here. So right now you're the only resident that's in the room, and so we can just talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'm Chris Vogelsang. I was kind of leading that meeting and I led the planning phase. I have Jeremy Kahn here, who's helping to lead some of the design choices as we move forward. My computer, you'll see Vogelsang computer, that's my computer because I'm sharing my screen. And then Sherry Moore is here, who's just helping me take notes and things. So let me share my screen, Roy, and then I'd love to hear what you're interested in hearing about, or what questions you might have, and we can kind of get right into that. So I'm sharing. Oh, good, I can see now. I'm sharing the 60% design sort of exhibit. And just as a reminder, this same exhibit, these same views are out at that Conveo site, the bit.ly/WDSS comment.
Yeah,
You
I
can go
spent
there.
about 3 hours on there last night.
Oh, you did? Did it work for you?
It's better than it was. The last meeting, I couldn't do anything on there.
Oh, okay.
And I was told that they would be making improvements, and the next thing I know, I couldn't comment anymore.
Oh, I
So
apologize.
I'm going to take full advantage of it, which brings me to my first question.
Sure.
How long are we going to be able to make those comments?
Okay, that's great. So comments for these quarters will be open to just till December 19th.
Okay.
Yeah, let me just for fun, since you jumped me there, let me just show you that information so you can see it and write it down. So I'll give you like the end thing. So December 19th, the comments will be open to, so feel free. You can do it through the Conveo. I know you said you had trouble before. Hopefully it'll work better this time. You can always email us, go to our project website, or give us a call. Those are the ways that we can kind of get in touch with you too.
Yeah, my old slow computer doesn't keep up with this at all. So I'm using the phone, and some things you can do and some things you can't. But like I said on the comment, it was kind of a process, because to look at the map, I had to turn the phone long ways, and then I could select where I wanted to make comment. Then I had to turn the phone the other way to get the text to fit so I could see what I was doing. And
Right,
then I haven't gone back today to see if it updated, but yesterday it wasn't putting my comments where I had selected.
well,
But somebody
let's look
sent
together.
me an email and said it was closed, so.
Okay, let's just, if you added comments, we can just go look together too.
I'd rather discuss stuff and we can do that
Perfect.
later.
Okay, yeah.
I live on the corner of Tennessee and Cuevas. So
Okay.
obviously I'm not, the city came last summer and took away all my parking, or all but one parking space on the east side of my house. This will take away virtually all my parking on the front because the neighbor has 3 vehicles. They park out there. So basically I'll be fighting with them all the time to keep a parking space there. We also have the apartment buildings parking up here because the apartment building charges, I believe it's $80 for an extra parking space. So
Gotcha.
the parking right here on the corner is very tight, and you're going to eliminate the rest of it, you know, because you're going to take the one spot that was left on the east side right on the corner, and then where I park right now will be gone.
Yeah, am I in the right spot? Is this Cuevas?
You know, on the phone, things are kind of small.
Oh, right. I'm sorry.
No, you're
Let me-
around the corner. You're on the wrong map.
Gotcha.
It's the one in the middle.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Chris, it's with the traffic circle.
Yes, right here. Sorry.
Which is another.
Yeah, and you're on your phone, right? Right. So it's hard for you to see what I'm looking at, but I'm looking at the right place now.
When it gets all filled in here, it will be.
Right. Cuevas in Tennessee, and you live right on the corner of that intersection. That's what you were saying. And that there was some parking that was removed earlier. And then now you're saying that with this design, the parking right in front that you've been using will be gone as well.
Yeah, literally I'm on the southwest corner, right there in
Over
front
here.
of the park. Yeah, right there. So right now I park from my sidewalk forward, and that's where you're taking the parking.
Right
And then there's
here.
a parking space that remains right where the no parking will be on the east side as well.
Right here. Right.
No, you're on the wrong side of the street, but
Right. Your house is here. And
Yeah.
then I think you said that you park, this
that's
is
where
the
I park
place.
now.
Right. And then you were saying the apartment complex, also people spill over into the neighborhood.
Yes. It's cheaper to take a chance of paying the $50 parking ticket than it is to pay the $80 a month to have an extra vehicle.
Gotcha.
I allowed one, so. And then we've had, the neighbor now has a food trailer. So he has employees parking out here. The neighbor, second one from the corner across the street from me, has a concrete construction type business. So he has employees parking there. So it's getting increasingly hard around here. But I'm very concerned about this turnabout, especially being we're going to have one on both ends of the block. Because as you can see in my driveway, I have a 26-foot travel trailer.
Right here.
Not to mention we have fire trucks go through here every day. Some days 5 or 6 times a day. We also are on a school bus route. We have, I think it's 3 different school bus routes come through here. And we have a lot of large vehicles that go through this intersection.
Okay, that's good to know. I know just for some background information, so you can see like there's a size 27 feet. That's pretty specific, right? For this circle. And that size is based on making sure that fire trucks and, maybe not like over the road semi trailers, but bigger trucks, like single unit trucks and things can get through this. But we'll want to make sure, Jeremy, that the designers are aware of maybe, the frequency of use here, and maybe take another look at this and see if that size is the right size for how having the trucks be able to go through. But also, the whole point of it is to get people to slow down. You did see that data that there's quite a bit of speed, higher speeds on this corridor
I'm
as
very
well.
aware of that.
Yeah.
And as a retired city trash truck driver, I can tell you trying to make a left-hand turn through here would be nearly impossible. My
Right, yeah,
pickup will barely make that turn. And anything bigger than that, it's not going to. I drive an extended cab 8-foot box pickup, so it's one of the longer ones, but
gotcha.
that's pretty tight for bigger vehicles.
Okay,
And you brought up the mention of speed. Originally, this was set up with speed bumps, which I'm
yes,
not a fan of, but I understand. But these pinch points, I think, are going to create just a gap for them to just drag race through anyway. So I don't think they're going to reduce speed. And I actually think you're going to make it more dangerous because that guy around here, it's mostly pickups that are drag racing around.
okay,
You know, he's going to be flying through there. Somebody's going to be coming the other way. I don't know what kind of signage or early warning you have on these pinch points. To me, you're creating a worse scenario than the speed bumps. The speed bumps, I believe they would slow down for. But the pinch points, I think, is going to cause more problems. Because I
gotcha,
think
understood.
they're going to be drag racing through the middle of it. And then who has right of way at the pinch point?
Yeah, which vehicle gets to go first? So, yeah, it's kind of like, so we liken it to, if you've driven some, well, you drove the trash truck, right? So, you know, like some of the streets in Denver are maybe 30 feet with parking on both sides, and the middle ends up being about 16 feet, right? And so it's kind of a, you know,
Depends on which one you're on.
negotiation, I guess, is how it goes. And to be honest, I don't know what the uniform traffic code says about who specifically is a right of way, but it's probably whoever arrives first.
I think if you have a wreck there, you're going to have a problem with who crossed the center line, which there is no center line.
Right. Yep. And Jeremy, can you remind me? I know the dimension isn't here. Do you happen to know the dimensions of the pinch points?
You know, I know we want to maintain, 11 to 12-foot lanes. So I want to say off the top of my head, I don't know the dimension, but I would imagine it's going to be, if we got a 40-foot street, we take,
Looks to me about 18 to 20 feet here.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Well,
Okay,
that would-
just to
That
give you a
would be
little more
2 lanes
background.
if you're going 18, 20 feet, right?
Right.
Instead of
Yeah,
the
so
one-
it says 1 lane pinch point, but it's really designed to, make people feel like it's tight, like there's friction, right? And
And how
so-
tall is it going to be?
so these are made with paint and post, right? So there'll be striping and then those vertical flex posts, right? And so that's the initial build materials that we're using on all the West Denver safer streets to try to get a bunch of corridors done at one time. And then at some future date, if they, the other thing it allows us to do, Roy, to your point, is it allows us to test things and see how they're working. If we do find that there is an issue, we can remove them or adjust them pretty easily. And once we get set, then we can come back through the corridors and make them more permanent with concrete or those sort of things. So the flex posts, I believe, I want to say they're 30 inches tall.
Yeah, I know.
Yep, I think that's how high they are.
I drove for parks, so I ran over a few of those at Wash Park because they didn't allow room for a truck.
For the trash truck, yeah. Yeah, and that's one thing we've been, so as the program has gotten more mature, as we've done more designs under our belt, we're doing a much closer look at the placement of those posts and truck turning movements and trying to make sure they don't get run over all the time. You don't have to run them over, like you were just saying your experience was, to do things that you need to do.
And the fact that there's a turnabout at both ends of the block, if you knew there was a turnabout on one end of the block and you had a trailer, like my neighbor's food trailer, he could just come around the other way and access his house. But with one at each end of the block, if you got a large vehicle, there's no way around it.
Yeah. I think we should take a note that might be, useful to feedback to the design team to maybe look at truck trailer combos, right? So pickup truck and like trailer, I don't know. Those are probably on the order of 20 to 28-foot trailers would be my guess.
Something like that, yep.
Yep. Okay. That's good input, Roy. Thanks for sharing that.
And these two streets are highly used by everybody coming into the neighborhood. You know, because there's really not that many. You got LaPan, then you got these two streets, and the rest of them aren't really through streets until you get, you know, up to Clay.
Right.
So a lot of traffic comes into the neighborhood here. And, you know, almost all of us have campers or RVs or whatever.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think we'll take a look at that. Because that kind of gets back to, you know, why we chose these locations, right? So if most of the traffic's coming in, we want to slow it down. So yeah, I think we hear your point loud and clear, and we'll pass it along and take another look at that.
Yeah, to me, you know, four-way stop with the cops showing up once a month to write a couple of tickets would probably accomplish what you're after. That's the biggest problem I see right now is it don't matter what you have out there without a little bit of enforcement, and it don't take a lot. You know, there was a cop sitting at the corner of Clay and the Houston Lake. He had a great, I mean, he did it like once a month. He'd sit there, write, I don't know, probably a half dozen tickets for people. I think most of them were for running the stop sign. But after a while, people start stopping, you know, because they knew he might be sitting there.
Right.
And I think that's an element that's missing, period, right now, is enforcement.
Okay. Yeah, I know that one of the philosophies with some of these devices is to try to reduce the need for enforcement so that the speeds come down just naturally by design, but kind of like what you're saying, right? So it makes it more difficult to go around. What we want to make sure is that it doesn't make it too difficult to do the things you need to do every day. And then,
I'll give you a little bit of more experience. Sure. Out at Laurie Sports Complex, the parks have turnabouts. They became like the favorite drifting spot. And we had actually a lot of accidents there. Hopefully that doesn't happen here because I really don't need cars in my front yard.
Right.
And there was a lot of people that would come in there with too much speed and literally get launched. And they were landing at one turnabout there. I have a dumpster that sits just past the turnabout, and they were landing almost on top of the dumpster. They were getting launched that high.
Wow. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned those. I helped with those. They were some of the first roundabouts done in Colorado. And I think there's some things we would do different about them. They're a little different than these. They're more like big intersection roundabouts than these mini ones. But I understand.
I'm not talking about the ones out on.
Oh, you're talking about in the neighborhood.
No, I'm
like
talking
small
about
ones like this.
They were in the park.
In the park, yeah. I didn't have anything to do with those. I only had to do with the big ones.
The bigger ones out on the street, once you figure out how to use them, they work pretty well. But in the park, they actually have two of them, I believe.
That are more like this size.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, it had a regulation of 35-foot vehicle on it. So that'll give you kind of an idea.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Are there, what else should we talk about?
During the pandemic, I saw enough bikes that I started to think, you know, that it justified some of this. But since, you know, the pandemic's reduced, I'll call it, we're back down to maybe 3 or 4 bikes a day. And most of them are e-bikes. They're on Quivas and they're hauling ass.
Oh, I think I saw you. I was kind of looking at the chat. I think I saw you made a comment about that in the main room chat.
Especially on the hills, like on Kentucky, where you're going down into LaPan, over by the school on Tejon. Those are pretty steep hills. If you just let your bike roll, you're going to be moving.
Right.
And, I mean, you guys are concerned about car speed, but bicycle speed, you know, if you're in a car and you pull up just a little bit to see, and you stick your nose out in that bike lane and he's hauling butt, it's all over.
Yeah, right. If they're around that edge. Yeah, we are trying. So to your point, yes, we want everybody to go reasonable speed, right? And it's the bikes, the cars, the trucks, everybody. And then we are doing, I know you talked about removing this parking. I'm gonna look here. So like a little, that's the circle. Even at the curb extension intersections, we're doing these 20 foot parking removals to sort of daylight those intersections so you can see better. So there aren't cars parked right up. That's one of the reasons. And I know you said that is a negative for you. That's the reason that those lines are there. So
Yeah, I understand that, but I also understand if you go just around the block, just go east of my intersection, the very next intersection, there's a big old tree there, you can't see nothing. So you're still gonna stick your nose out there. So even though you daylight it, it doesn't mean that you can see.
yeah, right. If there's, I guess you're saying if there's something in the yard that prohibits you anyway.
Yeah.
Are there other parts of the corridor? I mean, you know this area really well. It sounds like. I'd love to hear other thoughts you would have.
Which one you want to talk about?
Well,
Over
start
by
at
the
the top.
park, the pedestrian island,
Yeah.
just like the one that's down on Tejon on the north side of Alameda. To me, that, especially as a truck driver, I mean, I'm retired from that now, but as a truck driver, that was the biggest pain in the ass there was. And I actually almost took out a bicyclist there because the bicyclist came out of the alley just as I approached that intersection and was right at my rear tires. As I crossed over there, of course, I have to move to the right to get through there. And I damn near pinched him to know, it would have been all
Gotcha.
over for him.
That was the Tejon and Alameda one
Yeah.
that you're talking about. Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
it's
know.
still
I know what you mean.
it's the same concept.
Same idea. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Go ahead. Sorry, Roy.
again, I don't think, we don't have we have a lot of people walk their dogs and they're going to be using your bike lanes. I'll tell you that right now. And that's going to be a problem. But for these pedestrian islands in the neighborhood, I don't see it. Like the one down here on Kentucky, I believe when the road gets slick, that one's going to be an issue. The snow plow is going to have to get through there because they do plow that with the big tandems. When it gets slick, people are going to be sliding into that. So I think it's more of an obstacle than a help. I do understand you want to slow people down. Again, the speed bumps. I think four-way stops with a little bit of enforcement would do a lot of this.
Okay. Yeah, and you were, I mean, I know you went through this before at the last round. So the symbology, like, so the little black dots are those raised posts, right? And the white and yellow are stripes, and the red is where parking gets removed. So just make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah. And the posts bring up the street sweeping issue. The street sweepers can't get in there and keep it clean. So it's going to be dirty. They did a study a few years ago about our air in Denver. And at that point, it was largely dust. And Public Works went out and bought different street sweepers to address that. Well, now we're going to go right back to that, in my opinion, because we're going to have all this dirt laying around with all these posts. And then you get the grid on the road and the bicyclists go through the grid and they can wipe out on it. So it becomes a safety issue for them. It's not so much for cars and trucks, but it would.
Yeah, and just to clarify, like the street sweepers, so in this situation, the street sweepers could sweep the lane, but this middle spot, they clearly can't get into.
Yeah, or where you got the post.
Or here, the curb extensions either, right? Yeah, anywhere that's blocked by posts.
Right. And I, as a driver and a bicycle, I don't ride a bicycle like some people, I ride it occasionally. I don't want to be pinched into a car. I want to have room to get away from that car. Which the posts, if they're far enough apart, you can go behind them on a bike and get away from the car.
Right. But to your point, at the pinch points, right, everybody goes in the middle of the street. That's the idea.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I really hope that's not going to work the way I think it will, but
okay,
because there could be some pretty serious accidents there, especially when they're placed on the curve, just like the one you're showing here now.
Right.
Because you have the blindness of the curb and then the pinch point. Like I said, I don't know what kind of sign warning you're going to have for those. Should be something. because otherwise you're coming up on a blind pinch point, and you could have two drivers not aware it's there until too late.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. We had a picture of a pinch point early here.
Yeah, I
Oops,
think
sorry.
that
And I
was
don't
in
know
the
if
Virginia, maybe.
yeah, I don't know if it showed the signing. No, it just shows the pinch point itself, right? So yep, there will be signs, and I can't remember exactly what they look like, but yes. Want to keep going through the corridor, Roy?
Sure.
Sure. So I'm just kind of, I don't know what you can see in your phone, but I'm just kind of moving to the
Again,
east.
here, Tennessee and
Tejon
no, it's Tennessee
is,
and Tennessee.
oh, well, what I'm showing right now is Tennessee where Tejon intersects with it. Are you looking at this one? The Tennessee Avenue, the two
Yeah.
Tennessees that come together? Okay.
The bump outs on Tennessee coming from the park.
Mm-hmm.
So the 30-foot side, to me, those are going to cause another pinch point.
Gotcha.
Because it's kind of with that curve there. I don't know if the street narrows it or it just has that optical illusion that it narrows.
Mhm.
But from there all the way around to the stop sign for Tennessee, it gets very tight there sometimes, especially if you got cars parked on both sides.
Yeah, on the curves, even if it's the same width, it feels narrower, especially if there's cars parked. Yep.
And the bigger the vehicle, then you experience off track, so you're actually taking up more room.
A little more room, right? Yep.
So if you get into the commercial size vehicles, you're going to have a lot off track.
Okay. And then I'm showing the always stop at Tejon. This is the intersection with the Tejon corridor that we just discussed too.
Yeah. This is more what I think we need. Stop signs, like I said, a little bit of enforcement once in a while, just enough to make people stop and look, see if there's a cop there. That will get the job done. And then originally you guys had speed bumps right down here, and now you have pinch points.
Pinch points, yeah. And that was I think Geneva tried to explain that, but we were hopeful that we would be able to install more speed humps with this initial phase. And there's some still discussions with Denver Fire and emergency service providers. And so they kind of want to have a slower rollout and test them in a few places before they, commit to doing them all over the city. I think that's the status of those.
I can see that. People think big trucks have high clearance, but they really don't. And then the ambulance, of course, you got a patient back there. You don't want to be slamming them all over, going over a speed bump.
Right. And with the long wheelbase, right, sometimes you end up over the top. Yeah.
Right. And with the apartment building right there behind us, like I said, we see a fire truck every day. And sometimes it's 5 or 6 times a day. And that, probably 3/4 of the time there's an ambulance that comes along too. We get a lot of police, fire, ambulance.
Okay. So Tennessee, I know one thing we talked about, we had a meeting last night as well about different corridors. And one thing that came up that meeting was reviewing Denver Fire's sort of main travel routes and making sure we're incorporating those. And it sounds like they use this Tennessee quite a bit.
Yes.
Okay.
Or not Tennessee, it's more Cuevas than
okay.
Tennessee.
Gotcha.
Because they're either
more heading here, more north-south in Cuevas coming into the neighborhood.
If they're turning on Tennessee from Cuevas, then they're going on this block. Most of the time they're going to the apartment building, and they can come either direction to it. Most of the time they'll come off Mississippi. So then when they're returning to the station, they would be going through the intersection.
Understood.
Or this is also one of their main ones to go, like the Peterson Way or the streets just up the road here.
Okay.
So like I said, they roll through here pretty often.
Okay, and we talked about right by your home here, we talked about the we call them mini traffic circles, you call them turnabouts, same thing.
Same difference.
Yeah, we talked about the pinch points. Those will replace the speed humps and some concerns about, how's that work? Who has the right of way and making sure they aren't more dangerous, like we're trying to make things safer.
Yeah.
And I don't think we didn't talk about this end at all. And I don't know if you had any comments. I guess we talked about these raised islands a little.
Yeah. And I mean, the people who live on that corner don't park on the corner a lot because, as you can see, they got significant driveways. Mine's a weird driveway. It looks big, but it's not really.
Yeah, I saw it's at a pretty steep angle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably like 60 degrees to the street or something.
Yeah.
So do you back in this isn't really relevant to design, but do you back that trailer in there?
Yes.
You come up Cuevas and then back in this way?
Yes.
And you got it. This is your trailer. Like you have it parked really, really well there.
The garage,
Yeah. Yeah. Leave yourself space. Okay.
Because if I don't, then I don't get any vehicles in the driveway.
Yeah. Understood. Okay.
As far as going down the hill on Kentucky, it was,
yeah.
I'm concerned about the bike speed there again, because, I come off of Lipan up Kentucky to get to my house. I encounter not a lot of bikes, but a few bikes. If they're coming down that hill, they are moving.
Yeah, let me get over here. So my computer's not cooperating totally. Give me one sec. There we go. Right. So Lipan here, and then there's a lot of topography here that you can't tell from the picture. And so the speeds are high. And then what you're saying is, you've had instances where you've had to pull further out so you can make a good choice, right? And you end up sort of in each other's way.
Yeah. And that's the concrete company right there across the street. So you have commercial vehicles right there too.
Yeah. Yeah. We looked at, so you remember from the earlier meetings, we did look at Lipan, and then we sort of paused that. That was one of the proposed corridors as well. And so we're taking a relook at that. We kind of stopped and we're just going to start from the beginning again and see if that still makes sense.
Well, that's going to change a lot when they build the apartment buildings down the street.
Right.
And I was just getting ready to ask you what happened to Lipan, because I was trying to comment on it too, and it, doesn't.
Yeah, it's kind of not. There's nothing there, right? So just I can give you the 30-second high level. So basically, we got a lot of comments, and there were a lot of issues. So the road's pretty narrow in a few places, a lot of heavy truck traffic, and we were having trouble being able to get a facility we felt that would be comfortable and safe, and the impacts were pretty high. And we got a lot of public input that, especially at that southern end, like down here, that the impacts to the commercial and the new apartments coming were too much. So we've paused that, and we've collected some more data on some other streets, and Lipan and Jason to the east, and a few other locals. And we're just going back through and taking another look at other opportunities. And we'll be coming back. I know it seems like a lot of meetings, Roy, but we'll be coming back out in a month or two with some more discussion about Lipan and that connection. So I'll make sure that you're on the list. I know we have a big good contact list. Did you get an email about this meeting?
That's what I was just getting ready to tell you. I did not. I got this link through the Afmar Park Association.
Yeah, is there?
Roy, can I just pop in? I know mine, from the email blast, they go to my junk mail, and I didn't know if you checked that or not.
I'll check it again to make sure, but
can you give us your email? Well, don't say your email address, because we're recording this, and I don't want other people to. I can reach out to you. I know your address now. I know where you are, so I can reach out to you and make sure that we have you in our list. Okay.
Yeah, and you if you're in the neighborhood and want to stop and talk, I'm here.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to. It's sounds like, I mean, you know a lot about what's going on in the neighborhood, and that's great to hear.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that you guys are redoing the Lipan, because I really think that was going to be a bad deal. Exposition's supposed to be put clear through to Jason, and that
Mm-hmm.
would tie in the park and the trail along the Platte River. That might be a better option.
Yep, that's one of the routes we're looking at for sure. It's good to
Yep.
hear from a neighborhood's perspective that some other choices that might be better.
And that's probably going to be how people tie into the new bridge, which I need to find out more about that new bridge. But
From in the apartment complex bridge.
no, the bridge that's going across the Platte River.
Oh,
It's,
yeah.
north of Mississippi.
Yes, north of Mississippi. Yep. Yeah,
My
right. There were two
understanding-
things, right?
Yeah, my understanding originally that bridge was supposed to go over Santa Fe, the river, completely isolate bicycle and pedestrian traffic. Where now it looks like just another bridge, and looks like we're going to wind up with traffic lights and a whole bit there.
I think I might have been at our one of our earlier meetings. I think like I discussed, I might have been at a developers meeting for the apartment complex where they talked about that too. So I know that's sort of in flux, right?
Well, it looks like to me they're going to use that as an entranceway to the development that would be east of Santa Fe.
Got it.
Way it's looking to me now. So it's not going to be really a pedestrian bridge. It's just going to be another bridge.
Right, just a bridge over the river, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah, understood. Yeah, it is disappointing. And I thought that was supposed to tie into like some connection through the apartment complex too. Am I misremembering that?
Well, exposition would be because exposition right now doesn't go through from LaPan to Jason.
Right.
When we build an apartment building, my understanding is that will go through, which would give you direct access to Jason. And that's, the can't think of the name of the park right there, but it's right there on the corner, straight shot to the park, which gives you access to the Platte River Trail.
Yes.
So assuming that goes through, that's going to be an excellent connection for bicyclists and pedestrians.
And pedestrians, yeah. Well, so I don't want to keep you longer than I need to, but I do want to make sure that we had a chance to hear everything and then answer any other questions. Are there other things you were interested in about timing or what happens next sort of things?
My biggest issue is not getting I signed up with, I don't know how many, when I first got wind of all this, which was actually just before the second meeting. I signed up with everybody to get emails, and
Yeah.
I don't get them.
Okay.
I
We're
should be
definitely,
getting
we'll
a
dig
lot of
into that.
emails, but I'm not.
Okay. Yeah, because we've been sending them out, and if they aren't in your junk, we'll check and see if we see. And I'll just reach out, or I'll stop by your place and just chat. Did you get a postcard from us, a mailer?
Yeah, yes, I did get the postcard.
Okay.
To me, the postcard is not. It's not really going, this is what we're doing. It's
Yeah,
kind of
there's only so much room, right? Yeah.
right. But I think it could be designed where it grabs your attention instead of just something that gets tossed.
Okay. Yeah, we'll take that under advisement. We will be, for our meetings on the pan and things. I know we're trying to do the same strategies. So.
Because I talked to my neighbors and they have no clue.
Oh, they just got it and we're like, I don't know what this is, and tossed it.
Yeah, or actually, if you look at it, it doesn't have a lot of information on it. It's kind of very general, it doesn't say it's impacting them.
Right. So I will say, so we got asked this the other night, but so we did the mailers, we tried to do the email. For places that are going to have parking removals, there will be direct flyering, like someone will come and hand a flyer at the door that has really specific, like, parking is being proposed to be removed in front of your house. Like, you should know about this and please get in touch with us. So there is some more notifications that get triggered that are coming.
But shouldn't that already happen if this is the last meeting?
Well, so this is our last public meeting, but the designs aren't completed yet. And so we're still taking input. and then we'll kind of finalize the designs. But that's right. This is our last like kind of public group chance to talk together, and then the other opportunities will be, you know, by giving us a call or giving us your comments or sending us an email. That's right.
See, to me, that should have taken place before the first meeting.
Right.
Because then they'll have the full opportunity to put in their 2 cents. Like I said, I didn't find out about this till just before the first meeting. Matter of fact, I found out so close to it that, you know, I signed up with everybody and I got the link, and I was in here trying to get my computer to do Zoom. I had to download it in a whole bit.
Oh, geez.
So
yeah, well, you've been very persistent and patient and very civil. I really appreciate it. I know that's probably frustrating, and there's some things that you think are not optimal at this, but I appreciate you being giving us constructive criticism.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I live here. I drive, or I did drive vehicles of all sizes. My pickup's still larger than most people drive. And I do ride a bike and walk here and walk the dog. And, you know, I spend a lot of time outside, so I do see what's going on out here.
Good. Yeah. Right. I'll put you on my list of like people to come bug
No
as we
problem.
kind of keep moving forward. And yeah, I might just drop unexpectedly by your house and knock on the door if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. I did want to, I think probably we can wrap up. I just wanted to share that. Yeah, I know you have all this information, but sometimes people might watch this is being recorded. And so just make sure that people can see that info and what happens next. And
Yeah.
if there aren't any other questions or comments, Roy, I think our next steps are making sure that you're on our email list, and then capturing your input. I really appreciate you taking all that time on your phone to put those comments into Conveo. And if there's you know, it's very diligent. So thanks for being an active citizen.
And if you're one of my neighbors, get on that map and put your comments in.
Yes, yeah, that's a good plug, right? Yeah,
And-
everybody should do that.
Yes. And Chris, I did receive an email from somebody, I believe in your office, that commented on one of my comments. So I might be able to go backwards through them to send you my information.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. And if that doesn't work out, you know, the best thing it might be, you know, give that project hotline a call and give us your info. It's a voicemail thing, and then
Okay.
we'll call you back. Yeah.
Okay.
So rather than giving out your personal information on this meeting. So,
Yeah.
okay. Hey, thanks for taking the time. And that kind of ends our meeting. And if you, on the bottom right, I think of your screen, I don't know how it looks on the phone, but there's kind of a leave breakout room. If you click that and click leave meeting, like that'll kick you back out.
Yeah, my phone is at the top.
At the top. Great. Okay. Thanks for taking the time, Rose. Nice chatting with you.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
thanks,
bye.
Roy.
Yep. Thanks for listening.
You
Yeah,
bet.
of course.
Is the other meetings closed as well?
If you leave the breakout room, you'll go back and you can listen in on the Tejon discussion and whoever else is still talking. Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yep. Bye.
Talk to you later.
Yes, sir. And then Sherry, you can stop recording and save the chat.